stage in a playground. And if we change on the way.
Okay, Zoomers. Hey, welcome to OK Zoomers, our little Friday talk show thingy. We have an awesome guest with us, Jen. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Jen, I want to give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself a little bit. What are 3 things that people should know about you?
Well, I'm going to wrap up a basic bio in the
Yeah.
first one. So I'm Jen. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids, 14, 11, and 9. And I've been married for 19 years to my husband, Trent. And I work here at the church. So that's
awesome.
one.
Okay.
Second thing is I love the Seattle Seahawks. They are my favorite football team. I didn't always love football, but now I do. And I'm a very passionate, loyal Seahawks fan.
Nice.
And the third thing is I have 2 tattoos.
Wow. You're so hip and cool, Jen.
Well, that's literally the only thing that's even remotely cool about me. So I had to throw it in there.
I love it. You have been married for almost as long as I have been alive.
Okay.
How does that make you feel?
Well, a little old, a little proud.
But really cool.
Kind of
That's
a combination.
really, really
yeah.
cool.
I can't
So-
help when I was born, so I'm just, embracing.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So this week, we are talking about everyone's favorite topic, school. And I know you guys are probably like, over it.
Yay.
But Jen, you have some experience being a parent to some students who are trying to figure out what school is like. And I just thought it would be really neat to hear what it's like as a parent so that for our students, they could have a little bit better understanding, like, I wonder what this is like for my parents and how should I be treating them and that kind of stuff. So what has been some of your experience with some of the distance learning stuff thus
Yeah.
far?
I would say it was a shock for the parents as well. And probably not something that any of us was super excited about. And there's some families who choose to school at home and they really go in all in, but most of us didn't, and we chose to have our kids educated by someone else. So I would say it's been really challenging to jump in. So I have kids in 8th grade, 6th grade, and 3rd grade, and just helping 3 different kids with different unique needs, and especially for those older kids who have 6 to 8 different teachers, and they all have different styles, and just trying to help my kids navigate that. It's been challenging for sure.
Yeah. Never thought you'd miss the A days and B days of normal school
man.
and being in class and
Right.
stuff until now.
Yeah.
What have been like your greatest moments of success and maybe even moments of failure through the midst of this?
Well, I for sure have some fail moments. I am we're all just not at our best, I think, right now. Maybe we're tired, and so I have just lost my patience a few times, and a few times really big. And one day in the midst of, just when no one was leaving the house, my youngest actually started a fire in the microwave, and I said a bad word in front of all my kids. And then I felt horrible about that, and they keep reminding me about it, and I just was done, and I just lost it. And so that for sure was one of my epic fails. Yeah. And I wouldn't say there's like one huge win. Anytime though, like at the end of the day, I can just connect relationally with my kids. I think that's just a win. We have a little fire pit in our backyard. So I think I'll look back on this time and the times that we got to sit around the fire at the end of the day and just be together and talk, and not even talk about school, but just connect relationally.
Yes.
Those have been the wins.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope that students can find that time to like have those relational connections with your parents. Maybe some of your parents don't pursue that. But that's something that you can pursue too. And I know in my story, I had to pursue those relationships with my parents because they weren't pursued for me. And so that's possible. And that might be one thing that is easier now than was before because you're not spending your time elsewhere.
Right. Yeah.
So there's time for it and space for it.
And I would just encourage students, yes, to pursue it, because I think a lot of times parents, if we get kind of rejected by our kids, like if we're checking in on them and we just get this vibe of, I'm fine, leave me alone, I'm fine, leave me alone, then sometimes we just stop asking. So I hope that parents, we would be ready for a kid to just open up to us, but we do want to hear from you, even if we aren't inquiring about it. We do want to connect for sure.
Yeah. So from the parent side of all this, students, I thought it would be cool to hear from a parent, what does it feel like to be a parent in the midst of the schooling thing, and what are some insights that might be helpful for them as they're thinking about living, life with their parents? How has it felt to be on the parent side of all this?
It's been really tricky because I think it's hard just to parent a teenager. And so I've been investing a lot of time into figuring out how do I do that? And then someone else is supposed to be teaching them. So to try to also play that role as teacher has been really tricky. And I have not known how to, especially my oldest, give him space and independence because he's, very capable of working independently. But also, we used to have teachers that he was checking in with every day. So I don't know the balance of checking in and have you done this? Have you not? And do I ask to see it or have I not? And maybe he needs some help and accountability, or maybe that's annoying. And so I haven't always known the best way to navigate that. And then also screen time, you know what I mean, is just something that we're all aware of. And, we know research says it's not great to be on screens for 12 hours a day, but there's hardly anything else to do right now.
Right.
And by the way, instead of being at school, you're on screens, more screens. Yeah. So trying to navigate that, but also give my child and my children grace about screens and has been, I think, really tricky. I want to give grace and I don't want to be the meanie, but I'm not your friend. I'm your mom. Yeah. And so that sometimes I have to set boundaries and they don't always like that.
Yeah. Students, your parents did not get a handbook for any of this.
For sure. For sure.
They did not get all the rules. They did not get all the expectations. And so got to give them so much grace when it comes to this stuff.
I like to say I'm a sinner and I'm raising sinners. And also, I've never been a parent in a pandemic before. And you've never been a kid in a pandemic before. You know what I mean? Like none of us knows how to do this. We're all just figuring it out.
Seriously. Great point. So with all of this going on, what is something that the students then could count as a win, could look at and be like, you know what, even like just that is a win. That was a good moment, a good opportunity, whatever.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say for students, a win is just to finish strong. Just don't give up. You know what I mean? Just check in with your teachers. Even if you're doing the bare minimum, that's something. You know what I mean? Just don't completely check out. We've got like 3.5 weeks left or something like that. Just give it your best. And
you can make it.
Summer's going to be here pretty soon. Yeah. Yes. And I guess I would also just encourage, find something that you enjoy doing off of screens. So I know that's such a mom answer right now, but
it's okay. We just talked about it in 2 weeks ago.
Oh, good. Okay. So I feel like I'm a broken record, but like cooking or longboarding or something outside or an instrument, I think that we would be so proud of ourselves to look back after this COVID season and see that there's something that I enjoyed doing that was off of a screen.
Yes. Yes. We won't regret it for sure. As a parent and thinking about your kid and thinking about these students who are interacting with their parents, what is something that they could do to honor and to serve their parents? What would be really meaningful to you for your kids to honor and serve you in this season?
That's a good question. I will tell you, as a parent, there is nothing that brings me more joy than when my kids are kind to each other. So if you have siblings at home, I would say the best thing you can do for your parents is to engage with compassion and kindness with your siblings. There literally nothing else is better for me when my kids are being kind to one another and getting along and like having friendships.
Wow, that's cool.
But also, it's easy for all of us, even as adults, to kind of err on the lazy side right now. There's just not a lot of motivation. And so but parents are still carrying the weight of keeping the house running, and we're still doing all of our jobs and sometimes from home, and we're cooking more than usual, and we have more laundry and more cleaning to do than usual. So either maybe volunteer to do something, or when your parents ask you to help around the house, don't
be a little
go
extra willing.
Just say, sure, Mom, I can do that, or something like that. There's a verse in Colossians that says, whatever you're doing, do it with all your heart because you're serving the Lord and not man. Yeah. So I just don't think of it as like, I'm doing this for mom or dad, but just like, I'm doing this for the Lord and for the betterment of my family. And those are just two things that I think would really honor your mom and dad.
That's a great point. I would have, not being a parent, I would have never had the brainwaves to think of, it would be awesome as being really nice to your siblings.
Oh man,
your parents.
It changes the dynamic of your house.
Yeah. Well, if I ever have more than the one kid that's on the way, I'm sure that I will get a taste of that.
For sure.
Be nice to your siblings.
Yeah.
And serve your parents a little bit.
Yep.
That's huge. Jen, thank you so much for joining us this week. And
Thanks for having me.
being willing to share a perspective that I think, I don't know, when I look back to high school and I thought of my parents more of like an institution than as people.
Sure, that's
right?
normal.
Like, and to realize that they are just people also trying to figure it out and learn.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge mental shift
Yeah.
to make, but so important for seeing your family as people.
Yeah.
So thank you again for joining us, students. Hope that helps shine a little bit of light in this season. So we will talk to you soon. Be checking out the challenges that are on social media. You want to win the prizes. I'm just saying. All right. Okay, Zoomers. See you soon.
Bye.
I've been on the way now. We been on the stage in a playground. Not enough, we change on the way now.